National Internal Revenue Code, Chapter 2, General Principles, Section 23, General Principles of Income Taxation in the Philippines, except when otherwise provided in this code. A citizen of the Philippines residing therein is taxable on all income derived from sources within and without the Philippines. B. A non-resident citizen is taxable only on income derived from sources within the Philippines. C. An individual citizen of the Philippines who is working and deriving income from abroad as an overseas contract worker is taxable only on income from sources within the Philippines, provided that a seaman who is a citizen of the Philippines and who receives compensation for services rendered abroad as a member of the complement of a vessel engaged exclusively in international trade shall be treated as an overseas contract worker. D. An alien individual, whether a resident or non-resident or not. D. An alien individual, whether a resident or not of the Philippines, is taxable only on income derived from sources within the Philippines. E. A domestic corporation is taxable on all income derived from sources within and without the Philippines. And F. A foreign corporation, whether engaged or not in trade or business in the Philippines, is taxable only on income derived from sources within the Philippines. Chapter 3. Tax on Individuals, Section 24, Income Tax Rates. A. Rates of income tax on individual citizen and individual resident alien of the Philippines. 1. An income tax is hereby imposed, A. On the taxable income defined in Section 31 of this Code, other than income subject to tax under subsections B, C, and D of this section, derived for each taxable year from all sources within and without the Philippines by every individual citizen of the Philippines residing therein. B. On the taxable income defined in Section 31 of this Code, other than income subject to tax under subsections B, C, and D of this section, derived for each taxable year from all sources within the Philippines by an individual citizen of the Philippines who is residing outside of the Philippines, including overseas contract workers referred to in subsection C of Section 23 hereof, and C. On the taxable income defined in Section 31 of this Code, other than income subject to tax under the subsection under the subsections B, C, and D of this section, derived for each taxable year from all sources within the Philippines by an individual alien who is a resident of the Philippines. Number 2, rates of tax on taxable income of individuals. The tax shall be computed in accordance with and at the rates established in the following schedule. A. Tax schedule effective January 1, 2018 until December 31, 2022. Not over 250,000, 0%. Over 250,000 but not over 400,000, 20% of the excess over 250,000. Over 400,000 but not over 800,000, 30,000 plus 25% of the excess of 400,000. Over 800,000 but not over 2 million. 100 The rate is 130,000 plus 30% of the excess of 800,000. Over 2 million but not over 8 million. The rate is 490,000 plus 32% of the excess of the 2 million. Over 8 million, 2,000, the rate is 2,410 million plus 35% of the excess of 8 million. Tax schedule effective January 1, 2023 and onwards. Not over 250,000, the rate is 0%. Over 250,000 but not over 400,000, 15% of the excess over 250,000. Over 400,000 but not over 8 million. 22, the rate is 22,500 plus 20% of the excess over 400,000. Over 800,000 but not over 2 million. The rate is 102 100,000 200 and 500 ano plus 25% of excess over 800,000. 102,500 pesos plus 25% of the excess of 800,000. Over 2 million but not over 800 million. 8 million rather. 400, the rate is 402,500 plus 30% of the excess over 2 million. Over 8 million, the rate is 2,202,500 plus 35% of the excess of 8 million. For married individuals, the husband and wife, subject to the provision of Section 51D hereof, shall compute separately their individual income tax based on their respective total taxable income, provided that if any income cannot be definitely attributed to or identified as income exclusively earned or realized by either of the spouses, the same shall be divided equally between the spouses for the purpose of determining their respective taxable income, provided that minimum wage earners, as defined in Section 22HH of this code, shall be exempt from the payment of income tax on their taxable income, provided further that the holiday pay received by such minimum wage earners shall likewise be exempt from income tax. B. Rate of tax on income of purely self-employed individuals and or professional whose gross sales or gross receipt or other non-operating income does not exceed the value added tax threshold as provided in Section 109BB. Self-employed individuals and or professionals shall have the option to avail of an 8% tax on gross sales or gross receipts and other non-operating income in excess of 250,000 in lieu of the graduated tax rates under subsection A to letter A of this section and the percentage tax under the section 116 of this code. C. Rate of tax for mixed income earners. Taxpayers earning both compensation income and income from business or practice of profession shall be subject to the following taxes. 1. All income from compensation. The rates prescribed under subsection A to letter A of this section. 2. All income from business or practice of profession. A. If total gross sales and or gross receipt and other non-operating income do not exceed the VAT threshold as provided in Section 109BB of this Code, the rates prescribed under this subsection A2, letter A of this section on taxable income, or 8% income tax based on gross sales or gross receipts and other non-operating income in lieu of the graduated income tax rates under subsection A2A of this section, and the percentage tax under section 116 of this code. D. If total gross sales and or gross receipts and other non-operating income exceeds the VAT threshold as provided in section 109BB of this code, the rates prescribed under subsection A2 of this section. Okay. B. Rate of tax on certain passive income. 1. Interest, royalties, prices, and other winnings. A final tax at the rate of 20% is hereby imposed upon the amount of interest from any currency bank deposit and yield or any monetary benefit from deposit, substitute, and from trust funds and similar arrangements. Royalties, except on books as well as other literary works and musical compositions, which shall be imposed a final tax of 10%. Prices except prices amounting to 10,000 pesos or less, which shall be subject to tax under subsection A of section 24, and other winnings except winnings amounting to 10,000 pesos or less from Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, sweepstakes or and lotto, which shall be exempt. Prices derived from sources within the Philippines, provided, however, that interest income shall be exempt. Ang gulo naman. Again. Number 1, interest, royalties, prices, and other winnings. A final tax at the rate of 20% is hereby imposed upon the amount of interest from any currency bank deposit and yield or any other monetary benefit from deposit, substitute, and from trust funds and similar arrangement. Royalties, except on books as well as other literary works and musical composition, which shall be imposed a final tax of 10%. Prices or less, which shall be prices and other winnings or less from charity putik.